There is a phrase circulating on Weibo that sounds almost like a movie line. The 29-year-old Wang Yibo became the superhero of the 21-year-old Wang Yibo. It is powerful, but it is important to understand what that phrase actually means. It does not describe a literal event, and it is not a statement from Wang Yibo himself. It is a fan-created way of interpreting a much larger story, how an actor who faced intense online criticism during the rise of the Untamed has, years later, increasingly turned to formal legal channels when disputes involving his reputation or image arise. And in August 2026, that conversation became even more complicated because Wang Yibo is now involved in a separate lawsuit concerning the commercial use of his image connected to the Untamed. The case has been scheduled for a public hearing on October 8, 2026, in Hubei. So why are people connecting the 29-year-old Wang Yibo with the much younger version of himself? To understand the emotion behind that discussion, we have to go back to 2019. The Untamed became a major turning point in Wang Yibo's career. His portrayal of Lan Wangji brought enormous attention, but the visibility also came with intense online scrutiny. The important point here is not to repeat every accusation that circulated online at the time. Many online claims were never established as facts, and repeating them today would only blur the line between documented events and internet speculation. What is documented is that Wang Yibo's team has increasingly pursued legal remedies in response to alleged online defamation. That distinction matters. In June 2026, Beijing Xingchuan law firm announced that, acting on behalf of Yuehua Entertainment, it had initiated reputation rights litigation concerning 2 Weibo users. The firm said the users had allegedly published false statements through insinuation and that the legal process had entered the stage of seeking disclosure of their real identities from the platform. At that point, this was a legal proceeding, not a final judgment against those individuals. There have also been cases in which courts have already issued decisions. For example, in one case involving a Weibo user, a court determined that certain posts contained insulting and defamatory material and ordered an apology and compensation. By April 30, 2026, the law firm reported that the defendant had published the required apology and fulfilled the compensation obligations. This is where the superhero metaphor becomes interesting. Fans are not necessarily celebrating a particular lawsuit simply because it is a lawsuit. For many supporters, the emotional significance comes from the idea of personal growth. The younger Wang Yibo was a relatively young performer navigating an entertainment industry in which online narratives could spread extraordinarily quickly. The older Wang Yibo is now an established actor with a larger professional platform, more experience, and access to formal legal representation. That does not mean the younger Wang Yibo was powerless, nor does it prove that every criticism he experienced was unlawful. It means fans are interpreting the contrast between 2 stages of his career. The message is essentially this: if the younger version of Wang Yibo could not control everything being said about him, perhaps the older version can at least insist that disputes be evaluated through evidence and legal procedures. That is a very different story from revenge. And this distinction becomes especially important when we look at the newest development involving the Untamed. In August 2026, Wang Yibo brought a civil lawsuit over alleged infringement of his portrait rights against 5 defendants, including New Pi Media Group and other companies connected with commercial products and related activities. According to published court information, the case is registered as a civil first-instance matter and is scheduled for a public hearing on October 8 in Xingdu District, Suizhou, Hubei. The legal issue is not simply whether fans still love the Untamed. It is about the boundaries surrounding commercial use of an actor's image. That distinction is crucial. An actor appearing in a television production does not automatically mean every future commercial use of that actor's image is permanently authorized. The actual legal question depends on agreements, authorization, scope, duration, and the specific conduct being challenged. And because this case has not yet been decided, we should be careful with language. It would be inaccurate to say that the defendants have already been found liable. They have not. The court hearing is still ahead. It would also be premature to declare exactly what the final legal consequences will be. What we can say is that the dispute has moved from online discussion into a formal judicial process. That alone makes the story significant. There is another reason this moment is attracting attention. For years, celebrity disputes in China have often unfolded simultaneously in two worlds, the legal system and social media. A post can spread within minutes, while a lawsuit can take months or longer to resolve. That creates a fundamental difference between viral judgment and judicial judgment. Online audiences tend to ask, who is right? A court has to ask different questions: what evidence exists? What rights were granted? What actions actually occurred? Was there authorization? Was that authorization exceeded? What harm, if any, can legally be established? That slower process may not satisfy everyone emotionally, but it provides something social media cannot: a structured mechanism for testing competing claims. And that may explain why the 29-year-old Wang Yibo is the superhero of the 21-year-old Wang Yibo phrase resonates so strongly. It transforms a legal development into a story about time. 21-year-old Wang Yibo represents a period of rapid fame, enormous public attention, and limited control over the conversations surrounding him. 29-year-old Wang Yibo represents something different: experience, professional independence, and a willingness, or at least a willingness on the part of his legal representatives and company, to address certain disputes through formal procedures. But there is an important caution here. We should not turn this into a simplistic narrative in which every person who criticized Wang Yibo in 2019 was automatically wrong, or every current legal complaint automatically proves wrongdoing. That would undermine the very principle the legal process is supposed to protect. A lawsuit is an allegation until a court determines the facts and applicable law. A fan reaction is an emotional interpretation, not evidence. And speculation about Wang Yibo's private feelings should not be presented as something he has confirmed. The most compelling part of this story may actually be that we do not need to invent those things. The documented legal developments are already significant enough. The June reputation rights action shows that his side continues to pursue alleged online defamation through legal channels. Previous cases demonstrate that some disputes have resulted in court-ordered apologies and compensation. And now, the portrait rights case connected to the Untamed is bringing a different question into the courtroom: how far can commercial use of an actor's image extend after a major production has become part of entertainment history? That is much bigger than a fan war. It is also bigger than one celebrity. For the entertainment industry, cases like this can force companies, artists, agencies, and commercial partners to pay closer attention to contracts and image rights. For audiences, they offer a reminder that a viral claim and a proven legal fact are not the same thing. And perhaps that is the deeper meaning behind the Weibo discussion. Fans are not simply looking backward at the actor Wang Yibo was in 2019. They are looking at what 7 years of career growth can mean when the person at the center of an old controversy eventually has more experience, more resources, and more formal ways to respond. Whether the October hearing ultimately validates Wang Yibo's claims, rejects them, or produces a more complicated outcome remains to be seen. For now, the most responsible conclusion is also the most intriguing one: the story is still unfolding. So what do you think? Does the 29-year-old Wang Yibo becoming the hero of his 21-year-old self metaphor capture genuine personal growth, or do fans risk turning a complicated legal process into a much simpler story than the facts actually support?